Hey guys, it's Liam here from Primal Nomad. So it's really early in the morning actually. It's about 5:30. Just about to head out because today I've gone on a deer stalk. To step up my hunting game from small quarries such as rabbits and crows to something larger like a deer was quite a big and daunting step, so I decided to get in contact with a local and well-renowned deer stalker, Paul Childerley, who runs Childerley Sporting, and he organised for me to go out with one of his top stalkers, Nick. When I got to the Beckering Park estate, I was greeted by this amazing trophy room, and it was just quite astounding to see all the different animals and testament to some of the processes and part of the management schemes that Paul and his team are all part of. I'm here with Nick from Childerley Sporting, and we're here on the Beckering Park estate.
Yeah, that's correct.
So I'm actually here to do my first deer stalk, so Nick's going to take me out. Now, what's the plan for today?
So this morning we're going to be out to cull Chinese water deer.
Yeah. The management.
Yeah, obviously we have to manage a certain number of deer and take a certain number off the land each year.
Yeah.
So the plan is to get out and get your first Chinese water deer.
Great. Really looking forward to it, guys. It's going to be a little bit of, probably a bit slow. I'm not really used to filming while I'm out doing this, so I'll try and get as much as I can.
Trigger stick, and you get higher and lower. Level. And it's just handy for sitting your point, your bins on, to be fair. When you get into deer, the hardest part is telling what you're shooting at.
So we've just driven in now for about 5 minutes, and I guess we're at the area now where we're going to start the stalk.
Yeah, now we've come to a bit of ground. It's stubble at the moment, but it's going to be going into spring peas.
Okay.
So the plan is to take a few deer off here over the next few weeks.
Great.
Before they commence drilling, just to keep the numbers down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's the plan.
Great.
So yeah, now we'll get going and hopefully find one.
I can remember getting my first rabbit. I was a really young child and I was laying down in the grass, holding my breath and pulling that trigger, and the kind of moment of rush that came through me. And of course, it's moments like these that you kind of remember, and it brings you back to basics and reminds you of just where food comes from, or where it did come from. For a long time, hunting was a massively important process. And it was quite funny when I was standing with Nick looking over the landscape just before I was about to do the stalk, and I was taking in all the sights. I had this kind of feeling of anticipation and almost anxiety, and it felt quite, I guess, primitive, so to speak. It was this feeling that wasn't really sure of the emotional repercussions. I'd never been after something this big before, and I wasn't really sure exactly how it was going to go. Was I going to be successful, or was I not going to be successful? So all of these things were playing on me, and it was nice to look around and see all the sights and have just the sounds of nature, and really started to feel grounded about where I was. After Nick had given me a brief explanation about what we were going to do and what our aim was and the route we were going to take, we started to take a walk down through the edge of some kind of forest and along some hedgerows, and that's where we started to see our first deer. And it was, that was quite testament again to the management of this estate, just how prevalent they were and how calm everything was there. To see the Chinese water deer in its natural habitat was really beautiful, especially in their kind of stubble surroundings. They really did blend in, and it took quite a while to hone in the eyes just to pick them up with ever so slight movements. It was at this stage where it became really evident that you were quite reliant on the use of binoculars and the use of all of your senses, making sure that the wind is in your favour and making sure that you keep a low profile. These animals are wild, and even though they're on an estate where they're managed, they have extreme heightened senses, and it was really easy to, make your presence very aware to them. At this point, the stalk was really truly on. short distance of a really good example of a Chinese water deer buck. His tusks were really long and he had absolutely beautiful form, and it was quite entrancing being that close to him. Really great example of a trophy buck. Obviously using the camera to just pull my vision in a little bit closer and look through the binoculars, and that was one of the kind of first moments, I guess, in the stalk where it was me versus the animal and just maintaining silence. What was refreshing to see whilst out stalking was just the countless signs of other wildlife and just the signs of the Chinese water deer themselves. It was really nice to pick up and look at their tracks and see their movement patterns throughout the morning. There was quite a variety of bucks and does, and obviously taking a walk through the fields just opened up many different opportunities. So we decided to carry on our journey around towards some woodland area and see what deer we could find around there. Seeing what looked to be a suitable buck off in the distance bed up in the field, we decided to take this opportunity to stalk towards it. We had to lay down and crawl really quietly towards an opening in the hedge line that would allow us to get an optimal view in an area that we could shoot safely. We stalked up on the animal and I managed to set up my camera with a good shot and took up aim. And I just remember kind of thinking at this moment, please don't mess up. And it's funny, it wasn't so much disappointment or upset that I'd missed. It was more just acceptance and the feeling of a gentle reminder that not every time when you're going out for an animal you're going to get something. And even though I'd been kind of in my mind building up to get this animal, I think it was quite a good experience to have missed and actually felt that kind of slight amount of disappointment, but also again anticipation for the next stalk. Now of course I'm not saying that my head wasn't hanging low and I didn't have to try and boost my morale, but I could still enjoy being outside and I could still appreciate all of the animals around me and really take on that experience and learn from it.
So hey guys, had a bit of a nice morning out. Missed the first opportunity I had at a Chinese water deer, but then again that's part and parcel of it. So yeah, just going to head back now for a little bit and prepare to possibly come out later this afternoon. Alright.
We took a few hours break in between the morning and the afternoon. When we came back, we decided to try a different area of the estate.
So Nick, can you explain to us just a little bit about what the gun is that we're using?
Yeah, this afternoon we're using a Seiko rifle, which is in 243, with a Zeiss scope and a Stellar moderator. Fantastic bit of kit for deer management.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's quite a good calibre for the kind of size.
Yeah,
getting
243 is the minimum calibre for all deer in England, Scotland and Wales.
Right.
You can shoot muntjac with smaller calibre.
Right. Okay.
275s. But yeah, 243 does the job for me, especially on sort of Chinese water deer, muntjac.
Okay.
Yeah, that's ideal calibre, nice lightweight gun.
Really nice gun, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
See what's in the bottom of this dip. And make a bit of a plan really. We might sit up in the hedge for half an hour or so.
Okay.
And see what's moving. And then we'll push over onto that other hedge. Okay. But I know there is a few deer. So
that sounds great.
Go and have a look.
We started to walk through the fields and instantly saw some beautiful animals, so we decided to lay down in a hedge line and just observe with the binoculars for a period of time to see the pattern of movement and decide what direction we were going to go and stalk in a bit closer on an individual deer. Walking off that afternoon had some very different implications to the morning. I felt a lot more tuned in with the stalk and what I was there to do, and had an essence of confidence that I could successfully go out and stalk a deer that I would be able to then take back, butcher and prepare to learn about the whole process. And really it was just about staying calm and being relaxed. We'd seen again what looked to be like a young buck making his way through a series of fields and about to cross through the hedge line into the field that was behind us. So we decided to slowly and very quietly make our way back through the hedge line and take a walk up along a ridge just to make sure that we could catch him as he came over and down through the field. And I remember it was about this kind of time again that my heart started to beat a little bit faster and my hands started to get slightly clammy, so I removed my gloves and set my tripod up and just tried to forget as much about the filming aspect as possible, and really just on this instance just tried to hone in everything that I had onto this deer. Seeing the deer walk quite a considerable distance from where I'd originally spotted him and set my tripod to, I was getting more and more anxious that, you know, at least one part of my filming process would definitely fail here and I would miss an opportunity to get the hit on camera, which isn't important, but to me it would have been nice to have had that. So I just pushed that to the back of my mind and really focused on what the deer was doing. It was just a little over 100 yards, so it was a perfect distance, and all it was taking now was to wait for an opportunity if it stood still in the correct positioning to take the shot. After confirming with Nick that I intended to take this buck, I intervened with my camera for the last time in one act of hope and moved it blindly. And then took a breath and waited.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Your advice there was so good. Steady, don't think about pulling it.
Yeah.
It was over, just saw the explosion of hair and I was like, I didn't miss this time. Well done. Thank you so much. Well done. Give it a minute or two.
Anyone who's shot an animal will know the feeling of anticipation, hesitation, and excitement, and then that's followed by the sense of achievement and sense of anticipation to get over there and have a look and start the next process, which is really where the rest of the work begins.
Perfect shot. Yeah. Buck is it?
The deer that I'd shot was a nice young buck, a perfect cull animal, who'd suffered some damage to his tusks. Yet despite this damage, it was a perfect and prime example of a young and healthy Chinese water deer buck, and at this moment I was extremely grateful to Nick for his tuition and guidance whilst out stalking.
Well, what a good stalk today. Thank you ever so much, Nick.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure.
So what's the kind of next stage, for someone like you managing when you're preparing one of these? Will you take it back to we'll take it back to the larder?
What we'll do now is we'll take it back to the larder,
Okay.
dress it out, inspect the carcass,
Yep.
and then great. Leave it, put it in the chiller for a week, and then butcher it.
Perfect. Well,
I hope you've enjoyed that, guys. Again, it's been my first experience getting a Chinese water deer, so hopefully it inspires some of you to come out and try it. Lovely animal. Well done.
Thank you.
The deer was then taken into a larder where it was due to be dressed and prepared, ready to butcher in a few days. Obviously, historically, this would have been done outside, but where possible, it's always good to do it in a clean and safe environment. If you are sensitive to blood and gore, I do suggest that you switch off the video now or go to the last few minutes, but if you do persist, then you will see some of the techniques used when dressing a deer.
Actually put an off from the hog.
Yep.
Hold it back like that. Left joint down.
Okay.
Stand in front. Just feel where the joint is. Push it up a little bit. There you go.
Yep, handy. So it's finding that joint and then cutting along here.
Yeah, take this down here a little bit more down there. Yeah.
Just check it for you then.
And then look, and then go all the way around it.
Yep. Just like that.
Yeah.
And then
Break in your hand.
that's all. Great. So that's just disconnecting the tendons, is it?
Yeah.
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 Behind the elbow, the knee. Okay. So this is now kind of removing the hide, is it?
Yeah.
First. Right. So that's coming from this area here, is it?
Yeah.
I'm saying similar to mine really, you pull that up with. Okay. Side. Yep. So all you're doing there is you're opening this section.
Yeah.
Opening this section.
Start with that.
Going in. So always do a cut of the full pipe down. Yep. Slipping on pipe, hey? In there. That's the same with the legs.
Yeah, it's working way around it.
Under there, is it? That's just like a membrane there.
Yeah.
And just work that down.
Yeah, pull that down.
Yeah. Great. Just get it off. Okay. What else is it? So is that following its rib cage, is it?
Yeah.
Following the centre bone.
And that's just to take it away from its internalisation.
Yeah.
Just put it through. Yeah, probably.
After the dressing process, I said my farewells and again my thanks to Nick, and went home already trying to recollect some of the memories of the day that had just unfolded.
Hey guys, just wanted to say a massive thank you for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed today. It's been a really good experience for me. Really happy to have been part of a cull and a Chinese water deer and gain the experience of going out and hunting. Really looking forward to the experience of kind of now butchering the meat and using some of that on future campouts.
Not being an extremely confident butcher and purely basing my knowledge of this animal through its visual anatomy and what I've seen online and smaller mammals, I started to butcher the deer with the limited knowledge that I had, but I did manage to get pretty much all of the meat off of it. Once I'd processed the meat, I only had really the spine left that was going to be waste. The head and the hide is all to be frozen, and along with all of the meat, which I intend to obviously use in future bushcraft trips and cookouts and barbecues, and just share it with people around me that I know enjoy game meats as well. But really, this was obviously a great, successful hunt for me, and had its down points and had obviously my miss. But again, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone at Childerley Sporting for putting on a great stalk for me, and if any of you guys are thinking about doing it and going out there and obtaining your own food, I definitely recommend it. And thanks for watching. Until next time guys, see you soon.